I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as my brother's hands, those same hands that once pushed me on the swing set, pressed the pillow down harder. His whisper hot against my ear. This is for the family. Soft. You understand. The world blurred to black. But not before I saw the safe in Dad's study cracked open. Stacks of cash spilling out like the lies we'd all swallowed. And then, nothing, until the screech of tires yanked me back, my heart slamming against ribs that shouldn't be whole. The dashboard clock frozen at 7:42 p.m. on that godforsaken night 3 years ago. My 25-year-old body slamming into the present like a freight train. Holy shit. I was alive again. The engine's rumble vibrating through me as the truck barreled toward the intersection where it all went wrong. And this time, I wasn't letting go without dragging Ethan down with me. The rain-slicked streets of Chicago gleamed under sodium lights as I gripped the wheel of my beat-up Honda Civic, the wipers slapping a frantic rhythm against the storm. It was October 15th, 2022, 3 years before the night Ethan smothered me in that penthouse apartment overlooking Lake Michigan, his eyes gleaming with the cold calculation of a man who'd just inherited everything he didn't earn. I'd been 32 then, a mid-level accountant at a firm that specialized in laundering the kind of money that made politicians sweat, buried under student loans and the weight of family secrets I'd carried since Mom and Dad's accident.
But now?
Now I was 25, fresh out of Northwestern with a business degree that felt like a noose. Pulling up to that dive bar on the edge of Wrigleyville where Ethan waited, nursing a whiskey and plotting the first thread in the web that would ensnare us all. I slammed the car door, the chill wind whipping my hair across my face, and pushed through the bar's sticky entrance. The place reeked of stale beer and regret, neon signs buzzing like angry hornets over the pool tables. Ethan was at the corner booth, his broad shoulders hunched over his phone, that same boyish grin cracking his face when he looked up. God. He was only 27, 2 years older than me, but already the lines of ambition etched his forehead, the kind that came from too many late nights schmoozing at Daddy's golf club. Soph, he called, waving me over like we were kids again, not the fractured remnants of a family built on sand. I slid into the seat across from him, my pulse thundering, memories of his betrayal flashing like lightning, the way he'd framed me for embezzlement, the jury's guilty verdict sealing my fate before the pillow did. What's with the face? He laughed, sliding a beer my way. You look like you just saw a ghost. If only he knew. I forced a smile. Clinking bottles, the foam spilling over like the blood I remembered. Rough day at the internship, I lied, sipping slow. In this timeline, I was still interning at Hargrove and Sons, the family firm Dad had built from nothing, a real estate empire that masked darker dealings. Like the offshore accounts Mom had whispered about before the brakes on their Mercedes failed on that icy overpass. Ethan had been 24 then. Devastated, or so the eulogies said. But I'd seen the emails later. Buried in the safe, Ethan's correspondence with a shady mechanic. Payments funneled through dummy core. He'd killed them for the inheritance. And I'd been too blind, too loyal,
to see it until he turned on me.
We talked surface shit. Bears losing again. My crappy apartment in Logan Square. His big shot job at the firm already paying dividends. But under it all, I probed, casual as a scalpel. Hey, remember that trip to the cabin last summer? Dad seemed off. Right? All those late-night calls. Ethan's eyes flickered. Just a microsecond. But I caught it, the same tell he'd had when he lied about the safe.
Nah.
He was fine. Stressed from the market crash. You know, why bring it up? I shrugged. Heart twisting. In the original timeline, those calls were to a PI I'd hired after the funeral, uncovering Ethan's affair with Dad's partner, Lydia Voss, a viper in pearls who co-signed the loans that bankrupted us. Lydia had been the one to plant the embezzlement evidence in my desk, her manicured nails typing the forged transfers while Ethan distracted me with brotherly bullshit. By midnight, the bar had emptied to a handful of drunks, and Ethan was 3 sheets in, slurring about his master plan.
Soft.
Listen, this firm's a gold mine, but Dad's holding it back with his ethics. Once he's out, he trailed off, waving for another round.
Out.
The word hung like smoke. I leaned in, voice low. Out how? You got a plan? His laugh was too loud, too forced. Just kidding,
sis.
Succession planning. That's all. Bullshit. I excused myself to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, staring at the mirror where my younger eyes, wide, unscarred, stared back. This was my shot. No more playing the good daughter, the fixer who covered for his screw-ups. Ethan had buried Mom and Dad's crash under mechanical failure, pinned the firm's debts on me. And when I got too close to the truth, he'd made sure I never spoke again.
But now,
I'd unravel him thread by thread. Back at the table, I dropped the bomb casual as confetti. I found something today. In Dad's old files at the office.
Lie.
But his face paled like I'd slapped him. What files? The ones from the Voss deal. Offshore stuff. Looks shady. Ethan's jaw tightened, fingers drumming the table, a habit from our childhood poker games. When he'd bluff his way to winning my allowance. You shouldn't poke around.
Soft.
It's above your pay grade. Above my pay grade. The words ignited something feral in me. In the life before, he'd said that right before planting the ledger in my bag. The one that sent me to prison for 5 years before he visited with the pillow. Maybe, I said, standing, tossing a 20 on the table. But family's family, right? Night.
Bro.
I drove home through the downpour, the city's lights smearing into streaks of gold and red, my mind racing faster than the engine. The apartment was a shoebox in a walk-up, peeling wallpaper and a fridge that hummed like a dying bee. But it was mine, free of the penthouse ghosts. I booted up my laptop, fingers flying over keys I'd forgotten how to touch so freely. First stop, the dark web forums Dad had warned me about. The ones where whistleblowers spilled on corporate hits. A quick search on Voss Mechanics. Bingo. Forum threads from 2019. Anonymous posts alleging tampered brakes on high-end jobs. Payments traced to Hargrove subsidiaries. Ethan's signature was all over it. Sloppy in his arrogance. But I needed hard proof, not shadows. By dawn, I'd hacked into the firm's ancient server. Thank God for that cybersecurity elective and pulled emails. There it was, Ethan's thread with Lydia, dated weeks before the crash. Handle the car. Make it clean. Inheritance splits 60/40ths. My stomach churned, bile rising.
60/40.
He'd shorted her, the bastard, and she'd still gone along. Her reply a single emoji, a winking skull. They deserved each other. I forwarded copies to a burner email, then deleted my tracks. Sleep came in fits. Dreams of the pillow. Ethan's breath ragged with effort. The safes click as he pocketed the last of Dad's blood money. Week blurred into strategy. At work, I played the eager intern, volunteering for the Voss audit. Ironic, since in the old timeline, That's what got me flagged. Lydia Voss was a force, mid-40s, blonde bob sharp as her tongue, striding into meetings in Louboutins that clicked like countdowns. Sophie.
Right?
Ethan's little shadow. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Green as poisoned ivy. Heard you're digging into old files. Careful, some skeletons bite. I met her gaze. Unflinching. Only the ones that deserve it. Her laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Ethan cornered me in the break room that Friday. Coffee sloshing in his mug. What the hell? Soph? Lydia's pissed you're stirring shit. His voice was low.
Urgent?
The big brother act cracking. Back off the audit. For me.
For him.
Always for him. I set my cup down. Deliberate.
Why?
Afraid of what I'll find? Like those payments to the mechanic? His face drained of color. Fist clenching. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
But I did. I know about the cabin calls. Dad confronting you. And the breaks. The lie landed like a gut punch. His eyes widened. Confirming everything. Soph. Listen, it's not. I cut him off. Voice steel. Save it. Family sticks together. Remember? Or is that just when it suits you? That night, I met with a contact, a former PI named Marco, grizzled and chain-smoking, who tipped me off in the old life before Ethan silenced him too. We huddled in a diner off Michigan Avenue. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The air thick with grease. Kid. You sure? Ethan's connected now. Voss has half the alderman in her pocket. I slid him a flash drive with the emails. Positive. Get me surveillance on Lydia. And the safe, Dad's old combo. Marco pocketed it, exhaling smoke. This ain't revenge.
Soph.
This is war.
War.
The words settled in my bones like frost. As October bled into November, the city turned brittle with cold, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle bones. I escalated. Anonymous tips to the feds, nothing big. Just enough to make Voss sweat. Her audits flagged by the IRS. Ethan called daily. Texts laced with brotherly concern masking threats. Soph. Meet me. We can fix this. Fix this. Like he fixed Mom and Dad. I strung him along. Meeting in neutral spots. Parks where joggers blurred by. Cafes where conversations drowned in espresso steam. Each time, I extracted crumbs. His affair with Lydia started as leverage, but turned love or obsession after Dad cut him from the will. He was gonna leave it all to you, Ethan confessed once. Over burgers at Gold Coast Dogs. His voice cracking. The golden child. I had to. The justification hung there, ugly and raw. I wanted to scream, to wrap my hands around his throat the way he'd done mine. But no, not yet. Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon of mirrors, forcing him to see his reflection shatter. Instead, I nodded, sympathetic. I get it. Family pressure. But what if we exposed Voss? Take her down. Save the firm. His eyes lit greed. Ever the hook. You do that? For us.
Us.
The word twisted like a knife. By mid-November, Marco delivered photos of Lydia and Ethan in a Loop hotel, timestamps matching the crash prep emails. Better, recordings. Lydia's voice. Silk over venom. The girl's onto us.
Ethan.
Handle her like you did them. My blood ran cold, but my resolve hardened. I leaked the audio to a blogger at the Tribune, one who thrived on corporate scandals. The story dropped like a bomb. Hargrove heir in brake tampering probe. The headline screamed across Chicago. Voss's face on every newsstand, her denial sputtering like a faulty engine. Ethan showed up at my door that night, pounding like thunder, rain dripping from his coat. "What did you do?" he roared when I cracked it open. Chains still latched. His face was a mask of fury, veins bulging. "The firm's tanking. Dad's legacy. Your legacy," I spat, unyielding. "You murdered them for it."
And me?
When I wouldn't play along, the words hung, electric. His shock morphed to denial, then rage. "You're crazy." That crash was an accident. I held up my phone, playing the audio. Lydia's confession tinny in the hallway. His fist slammed the doorframe, splintering wood. "Soph. Please. We're blood."
Blood.
The irony burned. I slammed the door, heart hammering, dialing 911 as his shouts echoed. Cops hauled him away for assault, minor charge, but enough to plant seeds. The next days blurred, depositions, lawyers circling like vultures. Voss lawyered up, countersuing for defamation, but the feds bit harder, raiding Hargrove offices. I testified anonymously at first, then full-throated, my voice steady on the stand. "My brother killed our parents. And he tried to kill me." Gasps rippled through the courtroom, flashbulbs popping like gunfire. But Ethan didn't break easy. From jail, he spun tales, me, the jealous sister, fabricating for the inheritance. Lydia backed him. Her testimony, a tearful performance. Sophie's unstable. Always has been. The press ate it up. Headlines twisting. Family feud or foul play? Protests erupted outside the courthouse. Feminists chanting for me. Corporate shills decrying witch hunts. It was controversy incarnate. The kind that made America pause mid-scroll. Divided between blood loyalty and buried truths. December dawned gray and unforgiving. Snow blanketing the city like a shroud. Trial dates loomed. But I pushed harder, digging into the safe, combos 0815. Mom's birthday. Inside, ledgers. Yellowed and damning, detailing Ethan's siphons from Dad's account since college. Tuition loans never repaid, funneled to Lydia's schemes. I handed them to the DA, watching her eyes widen. "This seals it. MS. Hargrove. MS. Hargrove." Not Ethan's shadow anymore. The night before Ethan's bail hearing, he called from lockup, voice stripped raw. "Soph. End this. For Mom. She'd want us together."
Mom.
The invocation cracked something in me, memories of her laugh. Baking pies in that cramped kitchen before the empire grew. But then the crash, twisted metal. Her body slumped. Ethan's alibi airtight. "Mom's dead because of you," I whispered, hanging up. No more hooks. Just the blade. Bail denied. Voss fled to the Caymans, her jet grounded by warrants. The firm dissolved under scrutiny. Assets frozen. I walked out of the final hearing in January 2023. Acquittal in hand, no vindication, reporters swarming like locusts. "Sophie, did you know about the murders? How does it feel to betray your own brother?" Betray. The word stung, but I spun, microphone in hand. Family isn't blood. It's truth. And the truth sets you free, even if it costs everything. Ethan's trial was a circus. Witnesses crumbling. Forensics tying brake fluid to Voss's garage. He took the stand, suit rumpled, eyes hollow. I did it for us, he claimed, voice breaking. Sophie was always the favorite. I had to even the score.
The jury didn't buy it.
Guilty on all counts, double homicide, attempted murder,
Fraud.
life, no parole. As the gavel fell, our eyes met across the room, his pleading, mine steel. Sorry, I mouthed, echoing his old line. This table's for family only, but twists, as Marco warned, cut both ways. In the safe's dregs, a letter from Dad, dated days before the crash. Sophie, if you're reading this, forgive your brother. He was coerced. Lydia had dirt on us all. The firm's built on lies I couldn't bury.
Coerced.
The word gnawed. Dad's ethics masked his own skeletons, kickbacks from city contracts, favors for the mob-tied unions. I'd avenged ghosts, but unearthed my own complicity, the blind eye to discrepancies in my audits, the family dinners where I'd laughed off Ethan's jokes about shortcuts. Months later, in a quiet therapist's office overlooking the lake, I unpacked it all, the rage, the rebirth, the hollow victory. You saved yourself, she said, notepad balanced on her knee.
Saved.
Maybe. The firm was gone, but I started anew, a consultancy for whistleblowers, turning pain into purpose. Ethan rotted in Supermax. Letters pleading forgiveness I burned unread. Lydia extradited. Her empire crumbled to plea deals. One spring evening, walking the magnificent mile, cherry blossoms drifting like confetti, I paused at a street vendor's cart, the air sweet with grilled chestnuts. A family laughed nearby, Dad hoisting a toddler, Mom snapping photos. Normal.
Whole.
For a flicker. Envy bit. But then release. I'd clawed back from death. Shattered the cage. No more shadows. Just Sophie Hargrove. Survivor. Scarred but standing. Yet in quiet nights, doubts whispered, was the crash truly Ethan's alone? Dad's letter hinted at webs deeper than blood. I filed it away, a loose thread for another day. Revenge had its cost, sleep fractured by what-ifs. Trust a casualty. But America thrived on reinvention, on Phoenix rises from ash. And me, I'd burned bright, even if the flames singed. The end? Not quite. As I turned the corner, phone buzzing with a tip for Marco, boss talking. Bigger fish. I smiled into the wind. Round 2. Family reunions could wait. The tip from Marco hit like a sucker punch, pulling me back into the fray just as I'd started breathing easy. It was late April 2023. The city thawing into that false spring promise, tulip bulbs pushing through planters along the Riverwalk, tourists snapping selfies with the skyline's jagged teeth. I'd rented a loft in West Loop, high ceilings and exposed brick that echoed with solitude, a far cry from the shoebox days. My consultancy was picking up steam, pro bono for the little guys, retainers from jaded execs tired of boardroom backstabs. Hargrove integrity, I called it ironic, given the name's ghosts. But ghosts paid bills, and therapy bills weren't cheap. Marco's voice crackled over the line from a payphone in Bridgeport. Paranoia, his middle name. Voss flipped.
Kid.
Singing like a canary to the feds. Names dropped, not just Ethan, but your old man too. Hargrove Sr. was in deep with the outfit, construction bids rigged, unions greased. And get this, Ethan's coercion started when he was 19, Lydia grooming him for the long con.
Grooming.
The word slithered, ugly implications coiling in my gut. Ethan, fresh-faced at U of C, interning under Dad's watchful eye. Lydia, then 35, mentoring the golden boy. I paced the loft, skyline twinkling mockingly through floor-to-ceiling windows. What does she want? Immunity. Marco chuckled. Gravelly. For starters. But she's pointing fingers at you. Soft. Says you knew about the audits. Cooked the books yourself.
Me.
The accusation landed like a brick through glass. In the old timeline, I'd buried those discrepancies, fudged numbers to keep Dad's legacy afloat, telling myself it was temporary, just until the market rebounded. But it was complicity, plain and rotten.
Shit.
What's the play? Marco paused, traffic horns blaring in the background. Lay low. I've got a guy in the DA's office. But if Voss walks, if she walked, she'd hunt me, the loose end in her perfect stitch. I hung up, pouring a scotch neat, Dad's habit, not mine, and stared at the city that had chewed us all up. Sleep evaded, dreams fracturing into courtroom echoes, Ethan's gavel, Lydia's smirk from the stand in absentia. By dawn, I was at the kitchen island, laptop open, cross-referencing Voss's known associates. Bingo, a shell corp. Midwest Bridges LLC, tied to the overpass where Mom and Dad died. Permits rushed. Inspections overlooked. Dad's signature on the approvals. Ethan's initials as junior signee. Family business. Indeed. I forwarded it to my Fed contact, a no-nonsense agent named Reyes, who'd cut me slack after Ethan's trial. MS. Hargrove, she replied curtly. This could reopen everything. You sure you want in? Sure?
Hell no.
But backing out meant letting the web tighten around me again. All in, I typed, hitting send. The day devolved into meetings, a client, whistleblower from a pharma giant, spilling on opioid kickbacks, coffee with a journalist chasing Voss's Cayman's trail. By evening, exhaustion clawed, but resolve burned hotter. I hit the gym, a CrossFit hole in the wall where punching bags absorbed the rage I couldn't voice. Each thud echoed Ethan's pleas, Lydia's laugh, Dad's unspoken apologies. That weekend, controversy reignited. A podcaster, Windy City Whispers, dropped an episode, The Hargrove Curse Murder, Money, and the Sister Who Snitched. Clips went viral on TikTok, me stepping from the courthouse. Face pixelated but unmistakable. Overlaid with dramatic music and speculation. Was Sophie in on it? Or the real victim? Comments flooded. Traitor to her blood versus Queen of Karma. It was peak American drama, true crime porn wrapped in family values. Divided camps, duking it out in replies. My phone blew up. Old college friends ghosting. A cousin Meng. Heard you're famous. Call us when you're done dragging the name. Dragging the name. As if Ethan hadn't buried it first. I ignored it, diving deeper. Reyes called Sunday night. Voice tight. Voss is testifying tomorrow. Extradition's a go. She wants a deal, naming names for reduced time. And I pressed, pacing again. She's got photos. You and Ethan at the cabin. Post-crash. Looking.
Cozy.
Angle is, you covered for him.
Cozy.
The memory hit. Thanksgiving 2019. Snow blanketing the woods. Us toasting to new beginnings while I ignored the safe's fresh scratches. I chalked it up to grief, poured wine to drown doubts. Fabricated, I said flatly. Rhea sighed.
We'll need your alibi.
And Soph, this gets uglier. You might need protection. Protection. The word chafed. Independence my armor. But by midnight, shadows lengthened outside my window. A black SUV idling across the street too long. Paranoia? Or prelude? I double-locked. Glock, Dad's old service piece, on the nightstand. Sleep came armed. Monday's hearing was a media circus. Courthouse steps mobbed. Satellite trucks hulking like beasts. I slipped in a side door. Rhea's nodding me to a bench in the back. Lydia Voss entered shackled, but head high, hair perfect, suit Chanel despite the orange jumpsuit peeking at cuffs. Her eyes scanned the room, locking on mine with predatory gleam. Sophie, she mouthed, lips curling. The judge banged gavel. Proceedings droning. Charges read. Plea entered. Then Voss's turn. Voice honeyed venom. Your Honor. I cooperated fully. The Hargroves, senior and junior, ran the show. Tampering. Fraud. All under their banner. Murmurs rippled. And Sophie, the prosecutor prodded. Per her deal. Lydia paused.
Dramatic.
Knew enough to audit clean. Complicit, if not commanding. The gallery erupted, gasps.
Shouts.
Cameras flashed. My face splashed live. I gripped the bench. Knuckles white. Reyes whispering. Steady. But steady cracked when Voss leaned into the mic. Ask her about the safe. Combo 0815. Inside, not just ledgers, insurance policies. On her parents. Paid up by Ethan. Beneficiary her. Lies. Twisted truths. The policies existed, but I'd cash mine post-crash. Using it to float the firm. Ethan's idea. For family. Complicit. The word echoed.
Damning.
Recess hit like mercy. In the hall, reporters swarmed. MS. Hargrove. Did you profit from murder? I pushed through. Reyes shielding. But the damage festered. By afternoon, my consultancy's inbox overflowed. Cancellations. Threats. Blood money bitch. I hold up. Marco crashing on the couch with a shotgun and stories of old mob hits. This is how it goes.
Kid.
They come for the throne. Night 2 of the SUV. It tailed me from a client meet in River North. Weaving through traffic like a shark. I lost it in the alleys off Division. Heart pounding. Pulling into a precinct lot. Cops took the report vague. Possible harassment. But Reyes pulled strings for a tale. Sleep? Fragmented. Dreams of the pillow morphing to Lydia's face. Suffocating. Twist deepened midweek. Ethan's appeal hearing. Fast-tracked.
From Supermax.
He filed affidavits, sworn statements claiming duress. Lydia's puppetry. And, crucially, Sophie discovered the ledger's post-crash. Destroyed evidence to protect the family name. Destroyed. I'd shredded duplicates. Yes, fearing scandal. Not guilt. But in his spin, I was the enabler. The one who let him walk free until greed turned him. The press lapped it. Brother versus sister. Who's the real monster? Public opinion swung wild. Petitions for Ethan's retrial. Free Ethan trending with MAGA-adjacent rants on feminist smears. Counter hashtags. Justice for Hargroves. Women sharing betrayal stories. Tagging me as icon. Controversy crackled. Cable news panels debating, is loyalty a crime? I watched from the loft, scotch in hand, the divide mirroring my soul, half vindicated, half villain. Reyes called Friday. We got the driver. Low-level boss thug. Says she ordered the tail. Scare the girl quiet.
Quiet.
As if. And the testimony? Poked holes. Policies traced to Ethan Solo. But soft. Feds want you to flip on dad's old deals. Immunity for full disclosure. Disclosure. Airing the family's rotten tire. Rigged bids. Bribed officials.
Dad.
The man who'd taught me ethics over chess. Exposed as kingpin. The cost? My name. Forever tainted. I wrestled it through the weekend. Marco grilling burgers on the fire escape. City hum below. Your call.
Kid.
But secrets? They bury deeper than bodies. He was right. Monday. I met Reyes in a sterile FBI office, signing papers that felt like surrender. Everything, I said. From the beginning. Her nod was respect, not pity. Voss's deal crumbled under my testimony, contradictions piling like snowdrifts. She raged on the stand. That girl's a liar. She profited, but the ledgers, forensics, wires, all pointed to her web. Ethan's appeal denied. His letters turning venomous. You destroyed us. Soft. For what? Your 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Try eternity. By summer's haze. Verdicts landed. Voss. 25 to life, Ethan. Death row commuted to life plus. The outfit connections unraveled. Indictments rippling through City Hall. My consultancy boomed. Irony's gift. Clients drawn to the survivor story. But scars lingered. Therapy unpacking complicity. Nights where the pillow loomed in shadows. One July Eve. Atop the Willis Tower. Skyline sprawling like conquered territory. I raised a glass to ghosts. To truths, I toasted the void. Wind whipped. Carrying whispers of more webs. Dad's old partner. Still free. But for now, peace. Fragile. Earned. America loved its comebacks. And mine? Just beginning. Yet as fireworks burst for the 4th, early. Defiant, a text from Marco. Anonymous donor to your firm. Big check.
Zenda?
Unknown. Loose threads. Always. But this time, I'd weave my own. The anonymous check arrived like a ghost's handshake. $500K. Wired to Hargrove Integrity from a Cayman account that traced to nowhere. Marco dug shallow. Offshore maze.
Kid.
Could be Voss payoff. Could be guilt money from some outfit remnant.
Guilt.
The concept chafed. A luxury I'd long forfeited. It was August 2023 now. Chicago sweltering under a heat dome that turned the lake to steam. Air conditioners groaning in unison with the city's pulse. My loft felt like a pressure cooker. Case files stacked like accusations. The skyline mocking with its unscarred gleam. I hired a forensic accountant, irony supreme, to unravel the funds. Clean, she reported over Zoom, her Brooklyn accent clipping words. No strings, but the routing? Screams cover up. Cover up. Echoes of the safe. The shredder's whine. I deposited half, earmarked for pro bono, women trapped in corporate cages, men buried under boss betrayals. The rest? A nest egg. Because freedom's price was vigilance. Publicly, I played coy, press release thinking, a benefactor who believes in second chances. Privately, paranoia bloomed. Cameras installed. Routes randomized. Glock a constant companion. Fall crept in with equinox winds, stripping trees bare as my defenses. The consultancy hit stride, keynote at a whistleblower conference in D.C. Standing ovation from suits who'd once shunned me. Revenge isn't closure, I told the crowd. Spotlights hot on my skin. It's excavation. Dig until the rot's gone. Applause thundered. But backstage, a note slipped under my hotel door. Some graves stay shut. For family. No signature. But the scrawl matched Ethan's juvenile loops. From Supermax? Or a proxy? I forwarded to Reyes, who grumbled. He's got visitors. We'll watch. Ethan's letters resumed. Post-verdict vitriol softened to please. Soft. I was young. Lydia twisted me. Come see me, talk like before. Before. The cabin. Poker nights. Swings. Lies layered thick as Midwest snow. I burned them. Ashes swirling in the loft's draft. But doubt not. The check. The note, were they olive branches or bait? Therapy unpacked it. Betrayals echo.
Sophie.
You avenged. But the wound festers.
Festers.
Yes. Nights. I'd wake gasping. Hands in my throat. The pillow's phantom weight. October mirrored my first rebirth. Rain lashing windows. That same storm's fury. Marco called. Got a lead on the donor. Ties to your dad's old crew, Frankie, the fixer Moretti. Died last year. But his estate's settling scores.
Scores.
Moretti, the union boss Dad golfed with. The one whose donation greased the overpass bid.
Dead.
But legacies lingered like smoke. What score? I pressed. Marco's paws stretched. Your testimony. Buried him posthumously. This? Hush money. Or warning. Warning. The SUV's ghost revved in memory. I escalated. PI on Moretti's heirs. Deep dives into probate records. Turns out, Frankie's widow, Rita, chain-smoking matriarch, had a grudge. Your pa promised protection, her voicemail rasped when I cold-called. Feds circling now. Thanks to you. Protection. The word soured. I'd exposed the rot. But ripples drowned innocence? No collateral in a war they started. Meeting Rita was a gamble. Dim sum parlor in Chinatown. Steam rising from bamboo baskets like interrogations. She was steel-gray hair and sharper eyes, flanked by a nephew who cracked knuckles like gunfire. You got balls. Hargrove girl, she said, slurping tea. Digging up Frankie. That check. My idea. Shut your mouth. Or next one's a bill you can't pay. Threats wrapped in silk. I leaned in, voice low. Your husband's grave stays shut if you walk. But Ethan's rotting because of your protection, the bids, the crashes. Her laugh barked. Kid stuff. Your brother? Eager pupil. Begged for the safe combo after Lydia primed him.
Primed.
Confirmation. Bitter as bile. Ethan, 19 and ambitious. Trading loyalty for lessons in shadows. Rita slid a napkin across. One-time offer. Drop Moretti mentions. Check clears. I pocketed it.
Standing.
Counter. Your ledgers. Full disclosure. Or I testify on the unions. Standoff. Her eyes narrowed. Appraising. You play dirty. Like your old man.
Dirty.
The mirror cracked again. Back in Chicago. The napkin burned a hole Coordinates to a storage unit in Cicero. Moretti turf. I went alone. Glock tucked. Heart a war drum. Inside. Boxes of tapes. Grainy VHS of Dad and Frankie sealing deals. Ethan's voice young. Eager on audio. I'll handle the mechanic. Mr.
M.
Clean.
Clean.
The crash. Prepped in whispers. I copied it all, leaving no trace. Driving home with evidence that could topple City Hall. But controversy brewed hotter. A documentary crew-pitched Blood Ledger, The Hargrove Fall, offering 6 figures for my side. Tempting, vindication in 4K, but strings, producer ties to Voss's old PR firm. I declined, leaking the pitch to the Trib. True crime or cash grab? Backlash exploded. Activists decrying my elitism. Fans rallying Sophie Speaks. Cable panels reignited. Is she hero or hypocrite?
Hypocrite.
The label stuck, forcing reflection. I'd rebuilt on ruins. But whose bones? November's chill deepened the divide. Ethan's appeal, final shot loomed, his lawyer subpoenaing me as hostile witness. Courtroom redux. Oak benches. Stale air. My testimony a tightrope. Did you destroy evidence? His counsel sneered. Moretti napkin implied, but not shown. No. I lied smooth. Eyes on Ethan, haggard.
Cuffed.
Pleading silently. I uncovered it. For justice. The judge sustained objections. But seeds planted, doubt in the jury pool.
Post-hearing.
Ambush. Rita's nephew in the garage. Tire iron glinting. Family business, he growled. Swinging. I dodged. Glock barking, warning shot echoing concrete. He bolted. But not before I snapped his plate. Cops swarmed. Reyes fast-tracking charges. Rita called next on. Truce.
Girl.
Tapes stay buried. Checks yours.
Truce.
Fragile as glass. December 2023, anniversary of my death.
Reborn.
Snow fell soft, blanketing sins. I visited Ethan unannounced. Supermax's sterile chill seeping bones. Through plexiglass. He pressed palms. Voice muffled.
Soft.
You came.
Hollow eyes.
The brother I half remembered. Why the check? The notes. I demanded.
He sagged.
Rita's play. Thought it'd guilt you into appeal help. Lydia's idea, before. Before. Always before. You killed them. Us. Tears tracked his face. Forgive? For Mom?
Mom.
The hook tugged. But I rose. Forgiveness is earned. You earned bars.
Outside.
Lake frozen silver. I shattered, sobs racking. Catharsis cold. Therapy later. Closure's myth. It's layers. Peeled slow. Layers. Yes. Twists apex. Moretti tapes decoded. Revealing Dad's final play. Confession recorded. Timed post-crash. Absolving Ethan. Blaming himself. I built the cage. Son. Break free. Break free. He'd known.
Protected to the end.
I leaked it anonymously. Headlines shifting. Hargrove Patriarch's secret suicide note. Suicide? No. Exoneration partial. Ethan's sentence commuted to life eligible in 20. Mercy? Or machination? Spring 2024 bloomed tentative. Consultancy thrived. Book deal inked. Echoes of betrayal. Rita faded. Voss appealed and lost. Me? Engaged to a journalist. Kind eyes. No shadows. Wedding whispers amid cherry petals. But nights. The rebirth lingers. That screech. The blood. The second chance. Final hook. Marco's retirement gift. A file on Lydia's cellmate. Whispering plots. Loose ends eternal.
But now.
I tie them deliberate. America's drama? Mine to direct. No more victim. Just Sophie, unbroken. Unbowed. In the end, revenge birthed reinvention. Family? Redefined. Chosen. Not cursed. And the table? Mine alone. Bill paid in full.